Hey guys, Rob here. I'm gonna talk in this video a little bit about building like a strat book and the best way that I've found to kind of show that. You can definitely see like on my YouTube channel that this has changed a lot over time, as there's quite a few videos there of stuff that I used to make for my teams, which I think is like a pretty valid way, especially if you have a team that doesn't necessarily know all of their smokes or nades. That to make a video detailing what everyone should do, I think is a really great way to um, explain your like what you want to happen in a visual sense. But at the same time, I've found that people like you may remember all the things that you come up with as the IGL because you spend quite a bit of time on it. But with your players, they're typically going to forget, that the what when you say, "Hey, I want to do low metabolism," what exactly that is, and that it may get lost. Of someone will go, "Oh, I don't really remember that," and then you have to spend a lot of time saying, "Okay, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this," and then you have to remember, "Oh wait, was Blake the one that was smoked the Molly Con and smoke cat, or was Noah the one that was supposed to smoke top con and then go ramp or like whatever, right?" And you can see like once you build, I'm not going to click on these because this is our actual strat book. But this is like our old Mirage that I'm going to go through here real quick and just kind of show, because I think when you start to generate all these different ideas and strategies, it's really critical to be able to have a place to write them down. I've found that an Excel spreadsheet is a pretty great way to do that, because all your players can open it up in their shift tab menu when they're in game, and they can like reference it, read it during the round. You can call something like during dead chat, say, "Hey guys, if there's like a something that's maybe more like you don't run it that often and it's a bit more complicated, like if we're doing like low meta, like these two are like A splits and stuff where there's like slight differences. These are two basically the same strats, they're just like a little bit different and have a bit different pacing, and so you can give your players some time to read. So if I call low metabolism, then Caden can go, "Okay, this one I smoke deep jungle late, whereas this one I smoke deep jungle quickly and then I flash out." And he can remember that those are like the differences between those two, because you can see that he ends up like smoking deep jungle and flashing out into A like on quite a few, but these are all at different times and with different speeds, and then other things are happening, so you can kind of update himself and go, "Okay, this is what everyone else is doing, this is what the strat is," right? And I think it is key when you're using this to also remember and remind players like what it is, and but it helps to uh, organize your like mid-round time a lot easier and make it quite a bit quicker to do. The next thing that I want to kind of talk about is not just like the style, but also the kinds of things that you want to work into this list of ideas, right? I think minimal, you probably want like 8 strats to be able to run a T side. This is going to make you like not very dynamic, and you won't be able to adjust to things very easily. Which is why I think going to like probably 10 to 14 is probably like a really safe bet. We have, I normally have for a map like around, we ran about like 20 last season, which allowed, because we played a lot of different teams and players in college and in Maine, that we need to have a lot of different ideas. But that, if you're running your open team, this is pretty much about what you need. Where I have, honestly, this can be condensed into one strat. This is just an A split. These are deep A smokes, which is basically like a different look, as like Pug Special is just like your normal A smokes, right? And I think it's a really key thing to even write that down, right? Just because it's an IGL, this can be really great as well. When you're, sitting in the dead chat, you've done all these things, and you're like, "I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do." You come to this list and you read through, and you go, "Oh, I haven't done just regular A smokes yet. What am I thinking? I'm stupid," right? And that this is not just a list for your players to tell them what to do, but a list for you to say, "Oh, yeah, that's right. We've gone over this eggs rehash and A exec fake. Like, I actually don't think I ever ran this season because it never worked for us, but that, that's but that, maybe in like one game you're like, oh, that would work perfectly for what we have right now." So that it's never like worth it to delete something. But you can see here, so we have a, deep A smokes, regular A smokes. We have a fast B fake, some special things built around certain players. We have a fast A. We have some defaults down here. I build in Rob Confused if I just don't know what to do. This is just what is run. If I don't know what to do, this is where everyone goes. If I just say nothing, then everyone just giggles and goes Rob Confused, and then we all just go to these points, and I'm like, and I try to think my way through it, right? We also have a mid default and a B split, which I think there's like 2 B splits in here. So you can see that with what we have in this list of 14, you know, I'd probably, I think like a pistol round you would need to be added to this. But other than that, you could really call, you know, a whole half. You could honestly go like multiple games and not use some of these strats, but still be comfortable playing against teams that like aren't going to scout you or aren't going to necessarily like pay as much attention to what you've done in previous games, but that you're still like in a comfy bit that if maybe, you know, you really like running the fast deep A smokes, but then one game is not working, you know, if you only have 7 strats and going A isn't working and 4 of our strats here are at 5 are going A, and we have a fast B, and then we have a window play with like maybe a default, you're like out of luck, right? If you can't go A and you need other ways to get to A, or, you know, maybe you don't have 5 different ways to get to A, you only have 2 ways. You know, you have deep A smokes and you have A split. And then you have B smokes and a B split and a mid play, and that's it, right? That's like honestly like some open IM teams, that's like what you've got. And that can be, as an IGL, that can make you really like stuck in a lot of situations when you can't find your way onto a site. So I think the prep and, you know, writing down the things that are obvious, like Pug Special, this is literally just like jungle stare CT smoke, is a critical thing just to have in here, just so everyone, like, you know, it's also like laid out. You don't have to, when you're running to like ramp to throw everything, to say, okay, I'm gonna like throw this, I'm gonna entry, I'm gonna do this, and there's all this confusion. All of a sudden a guy pushes ramp, kills 2 of you, and you're like, oh shit, now we have to like do something different, right? The whole thing is just laid out. It's easy, it's simple. You can even call just like the number in like team chat. You can be like, yo, we're running 5, right? And everyone's like, oh, okay, we're running 5. They check their spreadsheet, they pull it up. That, and then also like YouTube videos, like what you can see on my channel. Those are all like pretty old, and you know, some of it is like still viable things, I think, and I think some of those ideas I still use here, but in quite a bit different formats and stuff, and not as a, you know, my style is like changed over time, but that those videos can give you some kind of idea if you're trying to teach your team how to do things. I think recording a video of you doing it can also be a great way to teach your team. So hopefully that kind of helps you gain an idea of how I'm running things in the background and how I use this chart to not only help myself but help my team win rounds and win games.